Hello, everybody, and welcome to the glorious Smite League. This evening, we have the first upper division match of the season here between, well, it's a civil war that we've got going on tonight, Gordon. We've got Team Britain against the British Armada, with a chance to see some new upper division players as well in Rosie and East, who have just been promoted from the lower division. I'm excited to see how they get on and how both teams get on here. I am Ginger Archer. I'm joined tonight by Gordon, with Printers doing the production for us tonight. Gordon, how are you?
Hello, I'm feeling hyped tonight. As you said, the new season kickoff starts tonight. British Armada Team Britain have the honours to start off this upper div set, and I'm very hyped. A lot of new players in the league, and as you said, new promotions. Um, I'm unsure about. I do not know anyone here. What's your opinions, Ginger, on these players?
Um, So, British Armada, I'm aware Connor Topshagger, Wolfie MB, and Lanky Blonde Boy have got some very strong synergy between the three of them. These three have been playing together for a long time. And if they whip out the dream team, they can certainly be a force to be reckoned with, the trio of them. Slipper Slap had a decent performance in the prospect games as well, so no reason that British Armada can't do well in this. On the other side, we've got Team Britain. East was on the bench actually for King Kai's in the lower division last year. Played a couple of games for those. And other than that, Rosie has a very strong mid pool. She can whip out some very interesting picks, as well as some much stronger ones that are more commonly known. She's got very good Thoth and Tiamat, as well as having a very nice little Hades and Morrigan, which have been respect banned many times against her in the past. So I'll be interested to see how this one pans out as we go into the bans. Kepri, very standard, as well as Lancelot, and then we're seeing some very interesting things coming out. So Cupid being negated and taken away off the table here, alongside Amuse and Carbon Cabrakan. Immediate thoughts on that?
Using cab. I think just must ban right now. It's just too strong in this current meta. I've seen them just one player alone in many ranked games, just without communication, just 1v3ing whole enemy teams for free. Lance Rat, top junglers at the moment. No wonder the new bans right there. Anxious to see the first pick. Cupid, yeah, I can respect the Cupid ban. He's been seeing a lot of play lately. Yamoja first pick. I'm a big fan of this.
Yeah, I think this is also potentially even a pick to take it away from the British Armada. Wolfie MB playing prospects, went unbeaten with the Emoja. Completely unbeaten, 100% win rate with it. He was insane on this god. Definitely not one that you want to let him have, so taking that away here, as well as locking it in, is a very strong pick. Good idea. Ganesh still on the table, so there's some safe picks into this. Xing Chen as well, and Geb always going to do a job with that shield, but for a starting pick, definitely not weak, and I think a very well-advised pick as well.
Yeah, definitely. The amount of team sustains she brings is undeniably one of the strongest at this moment in this current meta. Just continuous sustain for long team fights, continuous pop different abilities. And we see a Kukulin set locked in for British Armada. That's also, again, for the sustain for me with ESET. Not much I can say. The logic is sound.
Yeah,
Two good cards.
I think more likely that this Issa is going to go into the mid lane as well. With the recent patch, that shield got a lot of the health taken away from it, meaning that she's just that little bit less viable in support now. And while still strong, she has that early pressure and the ultimate healing and protections, etc. I do feel like you get more value out of her in the mid lane now, where she doesn't provide quite as much utility as she did before. More being focused around the damage that she can deal now.
Yeah, definite. And well, he said into Your Moja ult comes down, and if you are trapped, you pop your own ult down and negate any damage that you could receive in there. King Arthur and Baba. King Arthur into Kukulin, I think, is a solid lane, a solid matchup. There's not much to say there for either one or the other. King Arthur could body Kukulin, Kukulin could body King Arthur. It's a solo lane. Nothing new there. I don't know about Baba into Iset though. I think that's a big risky move. What's your opinion?
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there. I just feel like the Baba Yaga is going to get out pressured very hard early, which leads to a lot of rotations from the mid and jungle here on the side of British Armada. They've got a lot of rotational ability. as well as the fact that the ESL can just negate the Baba Yaga, or you plonk that down. As soon as Baba Yaga starts firing, you're charging for free there. It really kind of can negate a lot of what it does, as well as giving you those protections, meaning you take less damage as well. Alongside that, we're seeing the very safe ADC pick here in Charybdis, going to be able to avoid a lot of damage, avoid that Yamoja wall, avoid the King Arthur damage as well, and the Baba Yaga. Very safe pick, but very sensible pick here. I do like that. I think both teams right now have got very decent compositions. I like where the drafting is. Wondering maybe if this ESA is going to go to the support. Now I'm thinking about it, because I don't see why you wouldn't want to pick that up kind of early, unless they already know that they're playing around objectives, in which case they've got a plan in mind and they're going to stick to it, as we see the Ula being banned out now. Not something you necessarily see getting banned out as much anymore, but does have a lot of strength into Charybdis' ability to poke her. Darji making it through this far, very interesting.
Yeah, and a sensible ban. Eset can't really escape her. If that Eset is mid, Daji can definitely ruin her day. So yeah, also weird it makes it through this far, but teams have priorities. Not sure I agree with them, but I don't disagree.
Yeah, I think if teams just know what they want to draft again, then they can stick to a plan, and if they've got that plan and they know how to execute it, then I don't think they're too worried about what they're playing against, provided it's not a direct counter. And as we say about things that can be banned, Kali and Nemesis taking it this long to go through. Really interesting. Now we see that Ganesh is locked in, that pick that I mentioned earlier being very safe against the Emoja, as well as Ganesh and overall just being very strong in his own right. Got that ability to aggress and peel with the dash. The Dharmic Pillars coming out doing a lot of damage, reducing protections, the slow, the zoning ability. Very, very nice from them. And as we see now, Naja and Haim being hovered. Are we going to see that locked in? We are indeed. I like these last two picks. Looking at it, I really like these.
Heimdall is quite a sensible pick here. Very safe, very aggressive at the same time. But I do think Charybdis wins that matchup in the 1v1 scenario.
Absolutely. I think if you're playing Heim now, you're more looking to get the poke off with the 1 or 2, walk away, and then you get your pressure through that. Beyond that, you're more just looking to get to late game, where you're going to hit so much harder than any other ADC just because of that passive that he's got and the extra damage he has on his basics. But I do like it overall into this composition, as well as the Naja. If you look at this team, we've got the Camazos and the Issa. They're going to be based on a lot of healing. They're going to be getting into this ultimate, as well as the Cullen in the solo. They're going to be taking this away. They're going to be taking a player out of that healing, out of those protections and that pressure. There's going to be some really nice big potential onto these characters that are going to be really aggressive. I like these two. I think it's a nice draft.
Yeah, definitely British Armada looking for a very, very safe game here. Vineja, I don't see a lot of combo potential. If there's a Ganesh that she's trying to engage on, both a Ganesh and an Eset, they're gonna have to pick their moments. I'd like to see what they can set up, especially with the Yamoja ultimate and the Baba Yaga burst.
Yeah, I think it's the idea of the team breaking composition here. You're looking at it. This is very much a comp that wants to lock people into that one position and take it from there. You know, the Emojo to lock them in. The Baba Yaga's going to be throwing out massive damage. King Arthur with his AoE potential. Heimdall with the AoE basics and what you'd hope would be an Odysseus bow at some point.
My
and
issue is,
too.
I wouldn't count on the King Arthur too much, because he's fading into an Ise and Ganesh, who, whenever he's going to trying to start spinning, he's just going to get silenced or stunned, or silenced or stunned, and he's just not going to have a good day.
Yeah, I think there are some vulnerabilities here, and I think British Armada definitely have the potential to abuse that. My one worry is that if you're looking into the jungle from them, the Camazos is going to do a lot of damage. How much lockdown does it really have? It's more wants to go with this single target unless it transitions into a tankier phase. And even then, I just don't think... I get that it's a safe pick. You've got a lot of healing, which is what they're based on. They're looking to extend these fights. Against the Emoja, I just don't really think that's the play. I think she's going to bring more healing and vitality for her team together. Whereas The Camazotz, yeah, it's going to be able to be annoying and sustain itself, but aside from the E-Cell, there isn't as much sustain there, and I just don't I think had they picked another jungler, we would have had a much better, much better draft for the British Armada, and I just think that Camazotz has weakened this just a little bit. I think even a Susano here could have been really nice just for that pressure. With an E-set, you can get those levels on earlier and do a lot.
Yeah, I completely agree. But if Camazotz tries to gank Heimdall, he's just going to teleport away. He doesn't have a stun, any CC that can stop him. He's really dependent on Ganesh being there with him at that moment, or on Aset rotating with him. Otherwise, anyone he's going to try and go on is just going to easily escape. K. Cullen can't stop King Arthur from spinning away. And likewise, well, if Nezha is following them and is a part of that team fight, that's another stun we have to worry about. This could be rough for British Armada, depending on what they can do.
Yeah, I think a Magi's Revenge could help this Camazotz a lot here, I think, or just even the Magi's Cloak in general, is going to be able to do a lot of work, because if he can avoid that sort of single crowd control that locks him down, and from there he'll probably be okay, and he'll be a part of team fights. My main concern is just literally that lack of CC that is going to come out from it. Right now we are having a couple of technical issues, folks. We are still going to stick with this game. But in the meantime, we are going to cut to just a very short break while we get things sorted. We will be back with you as soon as we possibly can for this first game between British Armada and Team Britain. We'll be back with you very shortly. Okay, welcome back, folks. We do apologize due to some technical issues. We are going to be starting this one midway through the game, about 15 minutes in. A few kills have gone down, but fortunately, gold is fairly even. There's about 500 to or so in it in favor of Team Britain. What we are seeing is that they have a slight lead, I'm imagining, on objectives due to the XP differences. ADC and jungler slightly ahead, as well as the solo laner, but beyond that, the game looks relatively even between the two teams at the moment. No towers have fallen. Most of this game has purely been played around Pyromancers and Gold Furies.
Nothing out of the ordinary either along the builds, except, well, I could point out triple Manticores on for Team Britain, and that looks nasty.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this.
I'm
The
a big, yeah.
extra
Yeah.
damage you're getting, those protections, which are going to be so relevant as we see attempted invade here at the British Armada purple buff by the mid and support of all people, not even the support and ADC or the jungler. The mid making the rotation over after having cleared their Rosie. Exerting a bit of dominance on this Baba Yaga. She's got fully stacked items now. She's going to be doing a lot of damage, although Eset, Vaticinate, previously known as Dame Dahlia here, does have a full item build over her right now, so a lot of damage coming out there. As teams rotating, we can see that Gold Fury has recently spawned, and that's going to be the next play for both of them.
Yeah, that full item advantage does stand as a moment to look for a team fight here.
Yeah, definitely. And Pandas, if he's being engaged on, we see the Ganesh Dash coming in. Here's the Dynamic Pillars as well. The Emoji ult does come out, as well as Rosie's bringing in the house. Naja, in fact, not. Yes, the mid laner is going to fall, as well as the support. Two dying from Team Britain. British Armada getting another 2 kills here, and they're going straight towards the Gold Fury. But wow, he's coming in, takes out the ADC. Lanky Blonde Boy falling is going to slow down just how quickly this Gold Fury falls. While we're also pushing into that, take that first tower of the game in favor of Team Britain. This is a monstrously ahead Heimdall right now, 3-1. Some strong itemization online as well, and we can see just how slowly this Gold Fury is going down. East is making the rotation now for Team Britain. I don't think he's quite going to get there in time. No, he's not, but can he clean up potentially? Wolfie MB is a little bit low, and East is running towards him, but the silence coming out from the E set, meaning nothing more shall fall in this favour. Overall, 2-1 for the British Armada. Gold Fury for them. Game actually not even fluctuating on gold. Stays about 200 in it, so still a decent pickup for them, but nothing of major consequence.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my mic was muted there for a sec. Connor here, sitting on this scammer slots, 3-0-4. He seems to be doing a lot for his team at the moment. And I think that's 40 flat pen already, and 30, my bad. And if I could see the damage, I'm sure he's been putting in a lot for his team. He seems to be jumping in again.
Yeah, top damage for the team. Second overall, wow, we're just ahead of him on the Heimdall, but agreed, this Camazot's part of 7 of the 8 kills that the British Armada have, evidently putting in a lot of work with this early Mannequin Scepter. Not something you regularly see on the Heimdall, on the Camazots even, as once again, British Armada, as we said in that drafting, looking around these objectives with the E-set ultimate and getting that secure down, very little to counter that from Team Britain, and they've just taken a Gold Fury and a Pyromancer. Gold still laying quite even wowie right here as the ADC is getting massively ahead of Lanky Blonde Boy. Got that kin size done, the Executioner as well, and they're going to look to push in this mid tower here. And definitely able to. We can see just how much damage he is churning out onto that thing with the Trebuchet there as well. Whacking it for 150 at 19 minutes. That's disgusting.
That is something. Level 18, 19 minutes. You don't see that a lot nowadays, especially with the new changes to the meta, but
yeah, teams really seem to just be focusing around team fighting a lot earlier here, but he's managed to get his leaders. Big ult coming in here from Dimitze on the Yemoja, forcing out the Aegis from Vaticinate, but he was a little bit late, still took the damage, and got blown up by Rosie on the side. The ultimate also coming out. Is this going to be a tier 2 falling as well in favour of Team Britain? It looks like it might be. Got the Trebuchet, indeed it is. 2 towers in favour of them. Although Lanky Blonde Boy on the duo side has taken a tier 1, has pushed in that tier 2 just a little bit, but isn't going to be able to take it. Is in fact backed now. You can tell why. There's a fire giant looming, and it's Team Britain who are looking to be all over it here.
that was some beautiful positioning from the Mies with that ultimate. The follow-up from Rosie, just on point. I love to see plays like that, especially how clean it was. They take the tower, they back off, take tier 1 and left. Oh,
Oh, he is massive. What? Yeah, another kill. This time taking out Camazot's Connor. Top Shago has fallen for his first death of the game. This is a 4-1 Heimdall who's not been shut down. He is going to be a monster in team fights, working on what looks to be a Silver Branch bow right now. On the other side, Lanky Blonde Boy does have the Odysseus bow, so going to be able to do some spread damage, but yet to have either the Execution or a Kin size, meaning his damage might not just be
his
there, though he does have the
damage
Silver
is
Branch. He's going to have
just
the pen.
below your motors at the moment, sitting almost 1.1200k. I can't talk. 1200 player damage below your mojo, which is a little bit rough.
Yeah, I think Umoja has obviously got that ability to do the damage from range, has that Manticore spikes as well, which is going to be adding up, but as an ADC, you're really kind of just sat there farming, and you can see that the fights were never going his way from that solo
Yeah,
kill shortly before. I think
yeah,
this
especially
Charybdis now,
hats off
yeah,
to Wowie for putting on the pressure there.
yeah, a great performance. I think this Charybdis here just needs to get his skin size online, and will be able to have an impact. They've got the penetration already. They've got that AoE damage from the Odysseus bow, which does huge amounts with her passive and her basic attack chain. So right now, we'll be doing absolutely fine. Interesting here, looking at Rosie's build, a lack of percentage pen has gone the Divine Ruin, which understandable. You're playing against the Camazots and an E-set. But now going into what I can only assume is going to be a Bancroft's Claw. Now that's not something that I would expect to be picked up at this stage on the Baba Yaga.
I'm hoping that what she's thinking is that she wants a little bit more sustain, which I don't think is sensible because she's already got a Yamoja next to her, and the enemy team has 100% anti-heal. East going
Yeah.
in, zoning off 5 players alone.
And successfully getting the Fire Giant, and he's just gonna... Ooh, misses the stun on the turnaround. Connor Top Shagger blinking in, misses the bats chasing up, and that means that we've got a emoji here, ult being used just to make sure that East survives, and they've all got Fire Giant. Rosie here popping out some huge damage onto Connor Top Shagger. The Camzot's falling lower and lower. Baba Yaga ult chasing, but ultimately nothing more going to come from it. No deaths, but a Fire Giant in favour of Team Britain. And suddenly they have a 5,000 gold lead, and even after all those objectives before from the British Armada, they're meaning very, very little.
This is definitely a moment for them to back off. They've got the gold now. They've got a lot of money in hand. I'm assuming they should be looking to back off and spend some gold. Yamoja has no protections really as of yet. Little over 100 protections. She
Yeah,
opted to buy compassion straight away, which I'm. I like the item, but I think she should have opted for another starter item, another full item first before upgrading the starter. Because if they get into a rough position now, then she's not going to sustain as much as she hopes.
yeah, agreed. She's going to find herself struggling. I'm surprised we haven't honestly seen the Fabulous Tubes coming in for those extra shields of health. They're going to be coming around with the sustain. The utility that they have, the 7.5% of your health, that's not a small amount. Even on a squishy where you've got maybe 2,000 health at most, that's still an extra 170 odd health that you're gaining. That's nothing to scoff at all.
Yeah, no, but instead she opts for the Prudwin, which I agree with you. If she's lacking in Omi, having the Prudwin online soon is definitely a benefit for her.
Yeah, it gives protections both directions, gets that cooldown available, which means more ultimates as well with Umoja. I think sometimes people
Yes.
forget that that ultimate is on a set cooldown, and it is a very long cooldown, over than the average 90-second mark for an ultimate ability. So having that to bring it down just a little bit, going to be very nice, as well as this cloak of the aesthetic, meaning that cooldowns are going to be taken even further for everyone around her. A really nice pickup on the emoji for just spamming out abilities in a team fight. I actually quite like that. It's not something that I'd considered before.
Well, it's a Yamoja. If you're not using as many abilities as you can, then you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, I suppose you're right, and this is why you're the support main and I'm not, and I need to practice more Umoja.
I mean, all you do is sit and use auto attacks. I can't blame you.
That's all I do on Umoja as well, but on teammates instead of enemies.
Well, at least you remember a passive.
Oh yeah, it's part of the
Oh,
healing.
Demise going in.
Yeah, we are. It is indeed. He's going in. East is there, going on to Wolfie MB, taking some big damage from him and Rosie. It was indeed the Bancroft's Claw that Rosie picked up. You do wonder if she would have done a bit more with maybe a Soul Reaver there or an Obsidian Shard, but either way, the damage is there. Connor Top Shagger here. The Camazot's sitting on the side, making sure that they can clean up camps. We're also getting that little bit of poke just to deter them that little bit, and he's able to do so here. Camazot's very, very safe, able to just dash away, ult away if needed, and looks to be working into a Caduceus shield as that final item. So that little bit of tankiness with the health and protections it brings, and the extra healing here, can be a very nice bit of sustain for himself, as well as an E-set in these fights and everyone else around. And Charybdis now has Kin size done. That's a nice power spike. So here we do see Connor, he's going in, but he's a little bit out of position, he's alone here. Pandazap does miss the ultimate and is not quite going to get stunned out. Dharmic Pillars does come in to try and isolate him, a nice use of CC immunity to walk away. Connor's now falling very, very low to East, he's using the Camazot's ultimate, the Bat Out of Hell, to get out of there, but wow, he is absolutely destroyed. Fascinates, who's fallen here for the first kill of this engagement. Charybdis is being used to try and just disengage a bit. Rosie's dashing forward. Wow, he picks up Wolfie MB on the back as well. That's 2 kills for him in this fight. Slipperslap's falling lower and lower. Charybdis immunity is down at the Baba Yaga ultimate is chasing. Lanky Blonde Boy gets pulled back in by a brilliant Umoja portal. Uses the Aegis, but to no avail. Pandazap picks up that kill, and screw the Fire Giant. They're pushing in here, Team Britain. 5 against 2. Wowie there, still having full health and mana, a lot of damage, and the King Arthur, he's King Arthur, of course, he's still got an ultimate, they're just healing up here, right, and Phoenix goes down, and what are they going to look for next? It looks to be the next Phoenix as well, they're just looking to clean up these final structures here. Team Britain, with a fantastic team fight there.
This is a chance to clean up as much as I can. Wowie's full build, why not? Why not take it? Push the Phoenixes now, and look to regroup, I think, now. Yep.
Yeah.
Demise is low.
Absolutely.
This is beautiful for Team Britain. I mean, Connor tried to look for a solo kill in the jungle, but he went a bit too deep, and it was very well played with East with a follow-up, forced him to disengage. And, well, hell just broke out after Wowie coming on top with a full build. Obviously, no one can stand up to him right now.
Indeed. I think the main problem for the British Armada there, that I think Connor was going to get out regardless. He's a Camazos, right? Very safe, although we say that. He does here pick up the kill onto Wowie. Goodbye, Mr. Heimdall. There goes your Fire Giant, and that is a lot of pressure that the British Armada have just managed to pick up. Absolutely massive kill there. Going back to what I was saying, though, as the game does seem to be either paused or frozen, one of the two. What Connor was going to get out there regardless. I think the main problem British Armada had, they saw the Naja ult in and miss. They went for this engagement, but the problem is this Naja right now, relatively tanky. He's got the Protector of the Jungle, Manticore Spikes, Shield of Regrowth, Aegis and Beads. That's a lot of survivability as well as Naja's built-in heal on the 2. You're trying to lock down this target between the E-sets and the Ganesh.
Yeah.
That's not going to be enough between the two of them. As soon as that Spirit Ball missed, they needed to disengage, and instead they decided to keep going. I think that was the main thing that actually lost them the Fire Giant in the fight there, is that they took it when they were a player down. As soon as you miss that commit, you need to get out, and once again, players getting picked off. Wolfie here getting picked out of position a little bit, but nice ult from Lanky Blonde Boy doing a big bit of damage to Demise and onto Rosie in the backline. East here is falling lower and lower and lower. The Cullen ultimate comes out, the trembles, but the Umoja ultimate with a nice little bit of zoning. Is East going to make it out? No, the blink comes in from Slipperslap. Connor takes that kill. The Camazot's picking off the King Arthur. That's 2 now. Further fallen, the next Fire Giant is up, and we are seeing British Armada are taking the engagement onto this one. They're looking for this fight. They're going to be getting it down below half, but now with Rosie there in the backline, she's alone. And we see all this a little bit last season for King Kai. She tries to make this hero play, falls to Slipperslap, Demise falling lower and lower as well. Connor's on the zoning duty, but now Wowie's back. He gets the Camazots in the air. Fire Giant most likely falls to the British Armada, but we are... Oh, are we going to say goodbye, Camazots?
Bat Out of Hell.
The Bat Out of Hell is there, but he's going for the kill. He's going aggressive. Does actually pick it up and now just running away from the Heimdall. Fire Giant falls for British Armada. He's going to have that extra healing now and actually somehow gets out of there.
Charybdis forced to back. Minions have taken them. It tied into 2/3 health.
Yeah, big jump of damage onto the Titan there, but a really nice fight by the British Armada to actually take that Fire Giant. Really good initiative by them, recognizing they'd killed the ADC. We now have the time to rotate over and take this, and did so successfully. Really nice play by them. Pandazap just DCing that has come back into the game now. Team Britain, though, they do have a lot of defense potential here. They need to get people up. But if you look at their anti-siege here, King Arthur disruption, Baba Yaga ultimate disruption, the Emoja ult to lock people in place, it's going to be a nice way, actually, for them to hold on to Phoenixes here. I think we'll see towers fall. Without this being EFG, I don't see British Armada taking anything further.
I think right now they really need to, as you just said, defend Phoenixes, wait for them to respawn, and with a little bit of luck, try to take some towers down afterwards if they have the time. But it's looking. I don't know what to say. It looks pretty even right now. Other than a 6k gold lead for Team Britain, both teams can do a lot right now. Connor and Slipper Slap looking like they've got very big potential right now. The only two with a team close to full builds. Well, now Petitionate as well.
Yeah, there's a lot that they can do. These two have got a lot of aggression between them. If you look at 11 of the 12 kills that the British Armada have are between these two right now, and it is the two of them that are really sort of running the momentum for British Armada, deciding how these fights go. Again, credit to Lanky Blonde Boy. He's had some really nice peeling ultimates here to actually make sure that the fights go their way, taking people that little bit lower. But here, what we see actually is Team Britain just going for these objectives. These Phoenixes being down has really slowed down British Armada, and all they're doing is using this Fire Giant for the defense game. That just means Team Britain are able to come in here, they take a Gold Fury, they take a Pyromancer. They're still almost 9k up here.
I think if I'm in British Armada's position, I also let them take the Gold Fury. It is a primal, but at the same time, it is just a primal. If that were an Oni wave at 30 minutes in, yes, I would contest it, but at the same time, you're looking at a rough spot. All your team's still got Fire Giant. Why risk losing any of them to defend the Gold Fury?
Exactly. If you look at what happened the other day between Fountain Gang and Hakai, where one team was just using the Fire Giant to defend and got a fortunate fight that meant actually they ended the game from it, but they had the same thing going on, just using it defensively, using it to stay alive and making sure that they stay safe here. Was the play. Wolfie, MB being forced into an early ultimate here. The Diamond Pillars coming out, but not really finding much damage or usage. That's one big ultimate down now. They do still have ESET ult, which can be massive for Phoenix defenses. But that is one big ultimate that you really want to have available come these times where you're trying to get your base back up and ready.
Yeah, that was very good positioning from Team Britain to get the Diamond Pillars down, but at the same time, you'd say it's a big ult needed, but I think it was most needed there and there. If not, they could have been looking at least 2 or 3 deaths for their own team.
Oh, indeed. Really agree, and I think better to use the ultimate and stay alive than to die. No doubt about that there, but it's still a big ultimate to have down the utility that the Ganesh can bring in defensively and offensively. Speaking of offensively, that's a Camazotz with no beads and a brilliant Umoja portal to bring them backwards. Pandazap hitting with this ultimate. Wolfie MB falls to Rosie. Connor and Vaticinate are both half health. The ESET ultimate comes out. Demise is walking in. Not much healing coming out due to the anti-heal there. Vaticinate does fall. Slipper Slap also falls. Lanky Blonde Boy left on 1 health. Connor Topshagger is full health. His backhand speed is the only one who's really going to be able to do anything here. And Team Britain are just going to be running it down. Pandazap on zoning duty, keeping this Charybdis away from the fight, as we see the rest of Team Britain charging it down mid after this Phoenix. And this could potentially be game here. 33 minutes in with 2 people alive. We can see how quickly this is falling. Lanky Blonde Boy falls. Connor is falling lower and lower. Is he going to be able to pick it up? No, but he is going to start the siege onto the Titan. And a Camazotz alone at this stage. We're looking at a very single target god who's not going to be able to put out much of a defense, especially with this CC falling onto him. Falling lower and lower. Wow, doing massive damage. Is he going to be able to pick up the kill? No, he is not, but he is going to charge up those damage stats. Titan falls to about a third here, down to a quarter, 20%, 15%, 10%. Wow, he falls lower, but the Titan falls first. That is going to be game 1, going to Team Britain. And the first battle of the Civil War goes in the favour of the Order side team.
That was a huge game from Wowie right now. The Mies as well with the ultimates, the stuns, the healing, the sustain. Yes, incredible. Loved it. But Wowie, that damage just goes to show.
Yeah, an incredible performance here from the Heimdall. 7, 2, and 3, racking up an incredible amount of kills.
13k structure damage.
Yeah, that is a huge amount. And for an ADC to be involved in 10 of your team's 14 kills is absolutely huge. Matching the Yemoja, the support, doing more than your mid laner, your solo, and your jungler, that is a huge ADC performance right there. Absolutely massive. Also, credit to Demise, had some incredible ults there on the Yemoja, and the warding coming out there. 21 wards. We can see just how much of a difference the vision made between the two teams here. That was quite the performance from Team Breton, just able to control the map with that vision, have the objective control in the late game. They did
Yeah.
a fantastic job.
British Armada also played. You guys also played incredible. Just ultimately, Wowie came a little bit on top, and it was just too much from him. Too much late game potential as well. With a Yemoja right next to him, that much sustain, that much peel potential. Her ultimate, what she can bring to team fights. It's too much to hope for. It's too much to hope to stop it in early and in late game if you let it get out of control. They all performed great, but just ultimately, dual lane is what showed the difference this game.
Yeah, and I just think overall it was just the lack of just having that Camazotz there, which can provide such a limited amount to team fights. You're very much going on one person, but when that one person that you want to get on is the ADC, and the ADC is that fed, you're not really looking to go on a Baba Yaga. The house is going to provide too much defense for yourself. What he's had to go on here has just not really been available to him because it's been just in such a strong position. I think that was the problem, was that this Camazotz wasn't able to get onto the key target that he needed to get on.
Yeah, I agree.
So, with that, well, that'll be game one. We will come back very shortly for game two, and we'll do a lot of analysis as we go into picks and bans as to what British Armada need to do to bring this game back and bring this match into a three-game set. Game one goes to Team Britain. We will see you all for game two very, very shortly. Hello everybody and welcome back to this glorious Smite League Upper Division match between the British Armada and Team Britain. Team Britain took game 1 away from the British Armada, and we are seeing now that the teams are swapping around for this game 2. Team Britain going into the Chaos side, British Armada on the Order side. What we saw last game was a very, very strong performance coming out from Wowie, and as we see there immediately, goodbye Heimdall. That is banned straight away. They just do not want to deal with the safety and damage that it brings out for its team. I can't say I'm surprised. On the other side, Lancelot continuing to be banned, as would standardly be expected. What do we reckon the British Armada need to do in order to turn this one around? What would you think would be noticeable differences they have?
Well, for
In
starters,
terms of plays here.
I would ban the two gods, but well, the god that annoyed them the most, Heimdall. ESET, well, we picked ESET last time on their own team. This time, they're banning it themselves. Not sure what to say there. What they should do, look to shut down Wowie. That was what he started doing after he started rotating to team fights was too much. They cannot allow that man to get out of control. Likewise, they tried shutting down East early. That man did not care. He still started going zoning 1v3, 1v4, whatever.
Even 1v5 at one point.
Yeah. And the same goes to the Umoja ban. Demise has proven he knows how to play Umoja, and that what she did was too much. So the ban here is most understandable. Likewise, Team Britain have banned Bracken and Kepri, which I think were also banned last game, so nothing out of the ordinary there. Cupid, first lock for British Armada. What do you think of that, Mr. Main ADC?
Cupid obviously one of the stronger ADCs at the moment. A very strong hunter in terms of what he can bring both in lane and team fights. Was minorly nerfed, the Heart Bomb not quite doing as much damage to minions anymore, as well as the Fields of Love doing 20 less damage base. So still a strong pick, not quite as dominant, but it's still going to be absolutely massive in any game. What I am surprised at is British Armada actually banned the Emoja. But I think there's a little bit of tactical playing around there, because I know that Wolfie has a very strong Emoja. My problem is that if you don't ban Umoja, Team Britain can also not ban Umoja, then one team is going to get that or Kepri. Now, I don't know which one that these teams want to play against the most, but, you know, at this level of play, Umoja is going to have about as much potential and usage as a Kepri. And I think, in terms of what these teams have looked at here, is that they'd rather have neither of them on the table rather than both of them. What I am surprised is that Team Britain didn't go into an... I know they've gone the Raven, but why they haven't gone an early Darji into a Cupid and a King Arthur?
Yeah,
Really
that is
shocked by that.
not only shocking, but Anher into Cupid. Yes, you can CC immune the Cupid out with your own ult, but that doesn't mean you're not going to take the damage. Likewise, into an Athena, it's going to be hard, but at least he's got an Emir there on the side. Emir ran her very strong lane, and I personally love Emir into Cupid and Athena. So, could be a fun duo lane for the Anher, for Wowie, depending on how he plays it.
Yeah, I think they've gone the on her just for that direct counter. Even if you still take the damage from the Fields of Love, you're going to most likely be able to avoid the Heart Bomb by using the ultimate, just because of that movement speed that you are going to get out of it. So that's the thing, but the problem with picking an on her is your late game transition is so little because of just how much on her actually does in the meta at the moment. With his style, how he plays, he doesn't really do a huge amount. So actually picking him right now is kind of a detriment to your team. Bans that come through fairly standard. Loki pick is an interesting one. Does do well against Cupid. I will say that. Loki can absolutely shred a Cupid. There is nothing stopping him from just doing what he wants to bully that god. Except for an Athena taunt. On the other side, Gilgamesh Scylla. This British Armada composition has such a nice transition between early game on the jungler and solo laner into the late game. Mid game even with the Cupid, and then the late game with the Scylla. The Athena's going to be able to be everywhere. I really like this draft at the moment. It's so consistent and it has spikes throughout the entire game.
Yeah, I agree. This can look very. Ooh, okay. I'll come to that in a second. This can be very interesting as for how British Armada play. The Cupid, Gilgamesh, similar combos there, the cripples, the sustain, the follow up. It can be very interesting how we play it. And of course, with that Athena ultimate, the global presence that you can get from that support, I'm really hoping to see a lot out of Wolfie this game. Likewise, Morgan Le Fay locked in for Rosie. I'm sure she's now very happy with that. She's got very safe self peel with her 2 and 1. So it's going to be hard for Gilgamesh to dive on her, but yeah.
Also, the ability to just break out of that Scylla combo of the ultimate gets the movement speed to be able to dodge really nicely. Can follow up really nicely on a Loki engage or Ymir engage. Can be even just set up for them both to make sure that they can then hit their next abilities. There's a lot of options for what this Morgan Le Fay can actually do. So it's a nice pickup, and I think it transitions nicely with Team Britain's composition here. Something we haven't touched on is the fact that Raven just got through as well, and
Yeah.
he's just there as a didn't even get first picked, but second pick. Both of these comps are good. My initial thoughts is that British Armadas is consistent throughout the game, but this Team Britain comp is going to be able to do so much damage early with the pressure gods that they have that if this spirals out of control, it's going to be very difficult for the British Armada to actually come back in this.
I think the difference here is that British Armada's comp is just a comp that you just roll with. Abilities come up and you just follow them up. But in the case of Team Britain, a lot of what they can do depends on their actual synergy. If Morgan doesn't follow up Loki's initiations, then things will go wrong. Likewise, if Demise and Wowie are not in full synergy, things can also go wrong for them there. But, well, it's. I don't know. I
Rosie
don't.
doing? I'm assuming she's warding here, right? Yeah, nothing more complicated than that. What I am seeing, one, Raven is returning to this sigil build. Second off, look at how many potions this King Arthur has. Slipper Slap wants to fight in this lane.
He wants to fight. He wants to just stay there as well. That's 7 health potions. That is
That is
1750 health that he can regain.
that is so much help. I mean, at this stage, that's basically an extra health bar, almost 2 health bars
Yeah.
in the early game. That's quite an incredible amount. And against the Raven, yeah, the Raven's got that little bit of sustain. It's going to heal, what, 30 damage per use of the 3. Beyond that, it's not going to be an incredible amount until this Soul Eater is online. I love this from Slipper Slap. This man wants to be aggressive, and I respect it massively. As expected, Team Britain have the momentum on the duo lane clear here. Ymir and Armada are most definitely going to out Cupid and Athena. Cupid with the lowest basic attack damage. As you can see, he's popping those minions for 44 and Ymir for 38. Nice little double freeze coming out from Demise there to get that bit of poke down. And Lanky Blondboy already at half health. Hasn't used a potion yet, but interestingly, he's got mana pots. Not something you see too often on ADCs anymore.
No, Cupid, who can just regain his own mana.
Yeah,
Let your support take poke, heal up your support, and regain mana.
exactly.
It's I don't know. Curious.
Yeah, Team Britain though, as would probably be expected here, having the momentum in the duo lane and the mid lane,
Mid lane.
Loki and Morgan Le Fay out clearing the Gilgamesh and Scylla and just taking away those oracles there. Although British Armada did make sure they got that first totem, that mana sustain, can be very important in the early game. As Gilgamesh here, he's looking for a little bit of aggression, looking for a little bit of poke. Nice use of the root there, some big damage coming out onto Pandazap. Vaticinate, really nice bit of damage there. Piloting this Scylla very well for the early game and showing that actually she can still be a little bit of a menace.
Yeah. Both teams looking to split mids here now, which is a fair trade.
Yeah, now the solo side play, this is interesting. I was having a conversation yesterday. So the solo side mid camps are the ones that you want to get early game because when they spawn, look at the timers right now, both sets of back camps are really spawning. With them having the duo side, Connor could quite easily have walked into Pandazap's jungle there and stolen both sets of his back camps. and potentially the blue buff, but at least gone back to his own jungle with very little consequence. So Loki isn't going to fight a Gilgamesh early in the game or at many stages of the game, but especially now. And I just feel like that's a little bit of an opportunity that British Armada there have missed, where they're maybe playing a little bit too safe, making sure they get their own farm, where in reality they could have just gone and stolen a load of Team Britons and put them behind and started to navigate a bit of an early lead.
It's curious that you point that out because now, on the other hand, Loki's got the advantage. He hit level 4 just 10 seconds before Connor did. And
They got his clear on earlier. Lanky Blondboy here taking a massive amount of damage. Shell and Sprint coming out. They're not quite
Beautiful
going to be able
taunt.
to get it. Big stunner in and taunt from Wolfie and Lanky there. And they now also have the rotation here from Connor, who's there to contest this purple buff. The freeze comes out just onto Wolfie, but there's a nice little wall. They do go for it, but Wowie jumps in, gets the kill onto Lanky Blondboy. That is first blood going down for Team Britain. Wowie the on her getting ahead once again as he did last game on Heimdall. Now Demise is there looking a little bit low. The rotation has been made from mid, but Vaticinate misses all of his abilities. Panda's up here is a level 5 Loki, so he's going to be able to zone out anything that he needs to with the ultimate being available. That's a clean invade. Well, first blood for Team Britain. They don't take away the camp, but getting a first blood kill onto that on her is going to be huge for how much he can now bully this Cupid.
That was a very nice invade from Wowie and Demise. I liked how it turned out. Of course, the early game aggression from, as you said earlier on, and her and Demian together. It's a lot of pressure. We look at advantage. We got it. It paid off. And they could potentially look for a gold view in the next 3 minutes if we keep this up.
Absolutely, they could. They are taking a lot of damage here on the duo side, Team Britain, but a nice bit of zoning there from Demise just to make sure that Wowie can go further aggressive, using that freeze nicely to actually just counter pressure with the damage that he could bring out. Really smart play. That really helped out his team quite a lot, and overall just did a nice bit of work for them. Nice usage there.
Soul Leader online for Rav versus King Arthur, who's, I'm assuming, going to be backing soon for Sov.
Yeah, we don't likely see much else in the rest of this
It's going to be a
solo
Sov
lane now.
Gladshield. I'm wondering if they knew that Raven was going to get picked and he has some sort of new plan here, or if it was just a mishap that just sort of happened.
Yeah, not quite sure either way. A lot of time here spent by Wolfie in this duel lane. I think he's just making sure that this Cupid can get a safe back off in order to buy Transcendence or Dominance, whichever he goes. Probably the Transcendence on this first back, or technically first back. They haven't. That def doesn't count. That's a
First item Manticore on Emir, which I'm very happy with, but I think people are liking this item too much. It's
health,
good.
It's health, joint
yes.
protections, it's extra damage. This is like going a Stone of Binding early, right? Where you get that CC and it does the extra damage. This basically does the same thing. Is in mid lane, some aggression coming out onto Rosie. She almost turns out onto a Vaticinate, goes very, very low. Rosie blowing the ultimate and the beads to stay alive there. Vaticinate does keep hold of the beads, but both mid laners are in risk there of dying, and both of them just about managing to get out. But a really nice engagement there from the British Armada, and a really, really good turnaround from Team Britain. Wolfie here used that Hand of the Gods a little bit early, and it cost them to lose the buff. Successful steal coming out from Demise, and we saw last game the pressure that was coming out onto British Armada's purple buffs. It happens again in this one. That's some almost torture there coming through, and that is not what you want to see as a fan of the British Armada.
What I was wanting to point out, he's now stealing red buff. If Demise is capable of keeping up the aggression and getting a lot of extra gold ahead of Wolfie, then yes, I will be happy with this Manticore's pickup. Otherwise, he's going to be suffering in mid game if he doesn't have Gauntlet online versus an Athena with Gauntlet plus another extra item. Which could very well be an extra another Manticore as well, which...
Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see if the Raven picks up the Manticore in this game. Not something that we normally associate with this build, but mainly because as the build was strong, Manticore wasn't really a thing, or even like it wasn't necessarily out. As this time it is available. Wondering if we're going to see it second tier. Raven does have that route, is going to be able to proc it, granted only with the one ability, but I would be keen to see him pick it up here. That joint protections, mixing that with a spirit robe and then some health, you're going to be able to do a lot of defense for yourself.
Yeah, I can say it's not wrong, but at the same time, he might have other priorities first. But yeah, yeah. I'm curious though, does this spike proc when you root someone who's immune to roots?
I think if they immune the CC, it doesn't proc, right? It's when you hit them with a
Yeah.
hard CC that it makes the difference. So
Yeah, so
surely
that's
it
why it might
wouldn't do.
not be entirely uh useful. Being King Arthur has a few root immunities.
Yeah,
So it might depend.
it definitely might. What I am seeing right now is this Honor having a massive lead on the Cupid. Vaticinating Connor getting a kill in mid lane. Rosie falling. We saw signs of this potentially coming out before, and it has happened this time. Rosie does indeed drop. Vaticinate getting that kill onto the Scylla. 5 extra stacks. Nice lead onto the Scylla. The Warlocks is going to start to scale up now. Rosie opting into the first item of Spear of Desolation, which an interesting choice for sure. Now Demise is looking in danger, but what an incredible use of a wall and the freeze, meaning two ultimates, two massive ultimates, the Scylla and the Gilgamesh ultimate, are going to do nothing. That is a massive loss for the British Armada. A lot of momentum that they had from that mid and jungle rotation there, now gone. And on the solo side, Panda's up and East, looking for the invade onto Slipper Slap's blue buff, and look like they are going to take it. Indeed, they are just about. And Slipper Slap potentially going to fall, is he? No, Panazat does not have the ultimate to follow up on Zipperzat that last little bit. But that health was dropping ever so low there. We do have Vaticinate making the rotation. Rosie's there, but she's just picking up the Chalice. And Team Britain are going to pick up the first trebuchet of this game. That team gold that they gained from that. Quite potent. East though, is he going to be in danger here? Here comes the Scylla, just about has the mana to ult away that blue buff steal, making all the difference there to actually make sure he did have that mana. Were it not for that, we would have just seen a dead Ravan for certain. Nice rotation from the mid laner of British Armada. Vaticinator returning back to mid now. Does lose out on a wave. And to not pick up a kill there is quite unfortunate. That
That
lead
is,
that he had is kind of just dropped away from losing that.
yeah, that is a little bit unfortunate, but nonetheless, he's still looking at the. I do believe he's still looking at the gold lead on Rosie. What? Cancel that. Rosie's level 11.
Yeah, and if we look at the goal,
Demise here looking for purple.
yeah, if we look at the net worth as well, Rosie is about 400 up now, so that rotation did make the difference. We do have to also make the account for the fact that the Trebuchet came in. Rosie also picked some of those chalices up individually, so some of the gold is going to come from there. But, ooh, nice freeze there from Demise. Look how much damage that's doing to Lanky Blondboy. You can tell that he's been maxing out the freeze, but Lanky's dashing towards Demise, has no freeze. Gilgamesh ult comes out, the fields and lover there. Lanky Blondboy picks up the kill onto Demise. The Ymir has fallen. Rosie, though, going to make a return trade. Connor is going to fall. The ultimate from the Morgan Le Fay coming through and picking up that kill. Now they're going to go for the purple buff invade. Ultimates used by both teams, but that's gone before they even have the chance to retaliate here at British Armada. 1-for-1 trade, but a successful invade on the side of Team Britain, and they're going to be happy with that. And Panda's up now. Is he potentially looking at this red buff? I think he might be. He's hanging around here. Rosie's pushing in. She's now got a 2-level lead, and even without that ultimate, they could potentially go for the steal. The Loki using the decoy over the wall isn't quite going to find it, but he's now walking into the jungle of the British Armada on the solo side and is deciding, actually, no. I'm going to think the better of this. I'm just going to go and make sure that I farm.
That was an unfortunate fight for British Armada back there. Had Wakana been able to make it away safely, that would have been a good 1-for-nothing trade. But trading support for jungle is going to put him instead. I think he had Blink active and he used his jump to engage, which I think was his misstep. Had he done it the other way around, engage with a Blink, then leap away, he could have maybe survived. Maybe it was still on cooldown. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I just think they're wondering maybe if the blink was necessarily maybe trying to save it, thinking they had more of an advantage than they did. Maybe not expecting the damage that was going to come out from Panda Zap and Rosie in return. Rosie right now does have that Spear of Desolation, but beyond that has an unstacked Book of Thoth, so it's going to do some decent damage, but evidently enough to take out Connor, who is at the moment only level 9, maybe
It
doing more than they were expecting in return.
it has no sacks, so she just bought it, and I do think I recall it being tier 2 when during the fight.
Yeah, so at the time then definitely a case
That
of
was just barely enough damage, I think, from Spear of Desol, which is 110, 120,
110 indeed, yes.
110.
Yeah, which nothing to scoff at by any means. 110
Oh
power
yeah.
is a lot in the early game, but when you consider how much that the game has, there is a lot that can be had. We are going to take a short break just while we wait for this pause to come through. It is a rather long one. We will be back with you very shortly. But right now, 2 kills to 2, but a slight lead on the side of Team Britain as well as game 1. Are they going to be able to close this set out? We will find out shortly.
I'm up through the night. I can't turn down the noise, tear all the worries out of my mind. About who I'm supposed to be, I start to believe I can't get it right. Remember the days I let slip away, they were simpler times. Mama told me before you leave, if there's only one thing you remember from me, child, when you're out on your own, a million miles from home, feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders. Child, don't forget who you are, don't lose your head or your heart. I'll bet my life on your stars, you'll be dancing, dancing on the moon. I'll bet my life, you'll be dancing on the moon. I'll bet my life, you'll be dancing on the moon. I'll bet my life, you'll be dancing on the moon. Dancing on the moon. Dancing on the moon. Maybe my compass was wrong, and I'm still on my way closer each day to where I belong. I'm still rolling the dice, praying sometimes it don't last that long. I'm losing my faith, I'm walking away from what you knew all along. Mama told me before you leave, if there's only one thing you remember from me, child, when you're out on your own, a million miles from home, feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders. Child, don't forget who you are, don't lose your head or your heart. I'll bet my life on your stars, you'll be dancing, dancing on the moon. I'll bet my life, you.
Welcome back, everybody. We do apologise for the delay. Things going outside of the game caused us to have to pause there. We are back though. We will be getting into the rest of this game. We will be watching the last of this one and game 3 should it take to that. British Armada do have a bit of a deficit to come back from 2.5k gold at the moment, but with no towers having fallen and objectives still on the board, this one is far from over right now. Things they need to do to get back into this, well, right now we're looking at the farm. I'm seeing a behind Gilgamesh and a behind Athena. I think we kind of just want to get some power farming done now. The early game's gone.
And
Mid game is not going to be a great transition. Let's just get to
level
this
lead
late
for
game now.
Rosie.
Yeah.
That's yeah. Oh, also, as you predicted, Manticore spike in for Ravana, and Wingblade for Emir, which
Smart.
I'm happy with. I always like to go either Wingblade or Relic Dagger, second item on Emir. He's a big chunky boy. I think he
need the
needs some.
speed.
Yeah, he needs some movement speed.
Yeah.
But when you've got Manticores first, you may have a little bit of problem.
Ooh, nice wall, good taunt. Is Connor going to be okay here? He's taking a lot of damage. Rosie there and Panthers up, and that's going to be a kill for the Loki. Really nice plays by the Emir there just to freeze him. Rosie doing a lot of damage with that ultimate, recognizing she didn't need to use her rest of her kit. Just do the damage ASAP. Absolutely shredded him. Lanky Blonde Boy almost getting soloed over here by Wowie on the Yana, but it doesn't matter because Pandazap's there with the Loki ult to get that second kill. Gone from 0-0 and 1 to 2-0 on the Loki here, and just as I was saying, British Armada need to kind of just farm it and bring it back into this. Team Britain make a massive initiative play and go in and are now going to be able to take Gold Fury that came really just from Connor being a little bit too aggressive on mid. Got the ultimate out and then just overstayed that a little bit. Team Britain do indeed get the Gold Fury. British Armada with Nile response. Pyromancer's up, but East having so much pressure in the solo lane, they just seem to have a lead everywhere right now.
Yeah, this is definitely showing a great showing from Team Britain. I want to see more out of Rosie and Bandazap, because what they have just done in mid lane is really given their team a lot of a big push right now.
Yeah, and I think we're definitely see this transition. There's a Pyromancer available right now. Tier 1 tower already gone on duo side. There is no reason for Team Britain to do anything but take that Pyromancer right now, other than go and spend the gold that they've just earned from that Gold Fury, of course. You know, back in here, going to get second relics online, gets an upgraded bracer, has a sprint online, working now into a Magi's cloak just to avoid the crowd control that's going to be coming through. Not the most protection heavy build right now, but so much utility. And because this Ymir is so far ahead, I actually am really in favor of this, just because it's going to give him so much sort of mobility and survival in that front, rather than
Not
just being able to stand there and eat abilities. He isn't going to need to, because he can just walk away.
Yeah, not the biggest protection build as you said, but look at Connor Vaticinates and Blumboy's builds. The Gilgamesh, Cupid, and Scylla. Penetration, penetration, penetration. None of them have gotten any health. Neither Soul Reaver, nor Quintiles, or anything to really chunk down Emir's health. And I don't know if Demise has realized it and he's just going for it, because I think he's sitting on 2.5k health right now.
I think right now it's just Chad. Speaking of Chad, Pyromancer gets pulled. Here's the rotation with the ultimate from Wolfie, recognizing that he was also in a bit of an unfavorable position. Pandas up and East are here. East is huge right now. Look at the damage being dealt to Vaticinate. Pyromancer's still been pulled and is still alive as well. Fight is coming through. Big ult coming through onto Rosie from Vaticinate. East picks up Connor top Shagger. Rosie's falling half. Team Britain steal the Pyromancer. Rosie's falling lower. She does indeed die to Vaticinate, so trading one kill for one. But the Pyromancer, the objective, once again going to Team Britain. Their gold lead now extended to 5,000. Slipper Slap being forced to blink away from the Ymir wall there. Demise really on point with these. Wow, he has a 4-level lead in duo lane because they've just not been able to rotate over here. He is absolutely huge right now. He's looking to back to get this kin size online, and there's no reason he shouldn't. There is nothing to stop him from doing this right now. Lanky cannot take a 1v1. Wow, he has ult right now. He should recognize that, and yeah. Off he goes. Pandazap around this side of the map as
That
well,
was
just to make sure that nothing else happens.
That was a good choice from Pandazap. He opted to stay on the Pyromancer alone, taking the poke from it alone, but knowing that his team was chasing the enemy was too healthy for him. He had no ultimate, so he couldn't really chase anyone down, so he just opted to finish off the Pyro for his team. Think good choices were made, and it's really paying off.
Yeah, how often do you see a fight like that take out and it just gets an extended? It goes on for 2 minutes and then nobody gets anything from it. And what's been gone there is, yeah, the fight's not gone perfectly their way. It's not gone fantastically. They've traded the kill for a kill. And their mid laner has died. That is a big loss. But then they've picked up the Pyromancer as well, and suddenly it's worth it. Although Rosie, look at the damage she's taken, but the damage she's healing as well. Connor falling incredibly low here due to the damage from the tower, and Zip Pandazap gets the kill onto Vaticinate, has fallen low. Him and Rosie incredibly low on health. Pandazap, is he gonna... No, ooh. Almost picking up an next kill onto Connor there. Slipper Slap is in mid, but East is there as well as Demise. Nothing else really gonna fall from this, and Team Britain just getting more and more positive fights, positive engagements, and just able to shred this even further. Demise, don't be mean. Oh, he's being mean.
Oh,
Lanky,
that was beautiful.
poor boy. Look how much damage he did. That's a support Ymir. Granted, there's Manticore spikes, but that just did a third of Cupid's health. That is how fed he is right now. It's horrible.
That is
horrible.
sick. Of course, he's gonna heal back up being Cupid, but still.
Not the point. That is just a disgusting amount of damage. And you know how we said in the draft, Team Britain, if they abuse the early game and keep abusing it, they'll just take this game out of stretch. But that is exactly what is happening right now. Lanky Blonde Boy is getting slowed. Wow, he is chasing him away from the wave, but he's already cleared it, so not really losing out here too much on this Cupid. Also hasn't been able to get himself a kill in this game, so pulling back into it. And Pandazap is going to fall to Connor. That is a really big pickup, a really big shutdown for Connor. Get himself a load of gold to get back into this. Is still likely to lose the blue buff, although Slipper Slap and Wolfie are here. And then he is going to get it secured, but it's a four-way split. And now look at the fight popping out. East is taking some big damage as his demise. Rosie with a nice little decoy shot there. The ult only making contact with the decoy. Batisnate not having that is a big one down, but Lanky Blonde Boy dashing in, getting some big damage onto demise, but the wall just stopping any follow-up. And now the Aegis has to be popped as East stolts in. Demise is going to walk away. He's going to get out. This is unbelievable. No more kills going to drop, but the fact that the entirety of Team Britain there haven't been further punished. Now East is out of position. One more does fall. Vatisnate picking up that kill. He's staying a little bit too long there. But on the other side, now he's just split pushing the tier 2 tower. He's level 18 in 19 minutes once again. He's basic attacking while facing the wrong way. It doesn't even matter. This on her is massive. The entirety of Team Britain is massive. Vatisnate is kind of the only thing right now holding British Armada together. Now, luckily, that is the late game sort of hyper damage god. It is possible that they can come back from this, but not if Wowie can just shut her down right here, dashing forward, going into 3, almost alone. But now Rosie's there. The Aegis comes out. Wowie does get stunned, but the damage isn't going to be followed up, and he's going to get out. And now the rest of Team Britain are here. Demise is there walling off Wolfie, and they're looking aggressive now. Is Wolfie going to be able to get away? This extra speed from the Emir is able to keep up, zoning him out position-wise. The ultimate does come out from Wolfie. The damage isn't going to be there. He is going to be able to get away, but what a heads-up play from Wowie to both go in there and be able to live. Now Connor is going in looking for Rosie, but Demise is there. Connor doesn't have beads available. Panda Zap's there. Connor's falling lower over the wall. Loki ult is used, but the wall by the Ymir to block him in the camp. That is disgustingly good. I don't think Connor is going to die, but Demise, he is having an insane game here.
Incredible.
MVP so far. It doesn't matter about the kill participation. He's doing so much for his team.
He was using the ults with the emojis so beautifully as well. It's no wonder he's doing the same with Emir, with a natural ability, not an ultimate.
Oh
So,
my god.
oof.
We just note how much damage the Loki just did to Slipper Slap. Granted, he had his passive, but that's with 10% penetration on a King Arthur with 2 physical defense items and a Manticore spike.
And her
And Loki
looking
did
at
a third of his
4-level lead.
health.
And her on a 4-level lead on top of Cupid.
Yeah.
7
this game
levels
is just
on Athena.
so gone. He's got so much penetration now. Nobody's going to be able to stop him. Even the fact that Gilgamesh and Arthur are this tanky, it's irrelevant to this on her right now. With the passive as well, he's going to shred. Slipper Slap just melted there. Tisney having to walk out and get healed. Connor way out of position. The ultimate coming out from on her. Wowie not actually going to find it. He's able to live as Connor, but this is the thing. He's able to live in these fights, but he's not able to contribute much beyond that. Rosie taking damage, but the Aegis is there. Now Lanky's going to fall to Pandas up. The Loki ult coming through and picking him off. Really nice play here from Team Britain, and they're really starting to run away with this one. We're 20 minutes in, and there is a 10k gold difference. That's huge.
This is huge. We questioned Bianher at the start, and boy, is this proving us wrong.
Yeah, he's literally played it for the counter matchup, and he has abused the counter matchup. Team Britain have been really good as well at just rotating onto these purple buffs to just keep the Onher abusing the Cupid, keep him ridiculously far ahead. Because this is what Onher does. He gets a fed, he abuses games, but if he doesn't get that lead, he's not going to do it. You need to make sure that you play around that early and make him a menace. That's exactly what they've done, and we can see now 2-0-4, level 20 in what was 21 minutes at the time. Wowie is massively ahead right now.
Cupid
Massively.
finally has chin size on lane, which is finally one of the ways we have to counter Emirs so much health.
Core of the build is now online.
We see a lot of Manticores, which also deals damage based on health, but I'm also seeing the Manticore spikes lying around on the ground. No one is picking them up.
We are seeing Rosie get a massive solo kill onto Vatisnate. That Morgan Le Fay doing some huge damage with the Staff of Murder in there. And she doesn't quite live. Connor Top Shagger does just pick up the trading kill. 2 for 1 though. Team Britain are going to continue to take that trade when Fire Giant is still up. They've not lost it from anyone. They can just wait for Rosie to be back up. They have such a lead right now that they can just stall this out and go for the next one. They don't need to go for it just yet, although it does look like they're thinking, we don't need Rosie. We're so far ahead, it doesn't even matter. And they're pulling this Fire Giant now, and there's just no response from the British Armada. They're dealing with a Trebuchet. Cupid's off farming. Right now, Cupid needs to be farming. He needs to get to level 20 ASAP. Right now, if not, he's not going to be able to be relevant. He will take another 10 minutes to get there if he's fighting. He needs to farm. Split pushing is the correct call right now. I think he needs to take this tower and keep going too. That's exactly what he's doing, taking that extra wave just to bring himself back into this. But the charts there, as we just saw, 16k experience, 13k gold. Oh, talk about almost unassailable, especially this soon.
This is incredible. I don't know what British Armada could do here other than what you've already pointed out. Cupid needs to farm. He's level 18 still. He could potentially still be in the game. But
Absolutely. Has the Odibo too.
Athena, level 14, the moment she tries to frontline, she's going to get blown up.
Yeah, and the other problem for this Athena right now is just the fact that she's lying on a single crowd control. And the way that the game is going, this just means Demise is going to be able to walk in for free. He's not going to get taunted. So he's going to be able to find walls and freezes with very little repercussion right now. This Magi's Cloak really just shutting down everything that the Athena can do. The fact that everyone else has beads is irrelevant because she's not even going to be able to get onto them, so she's never going to burn them. They're so far ahead right now, Team Britain, that the Athena is essentially just being rendered useless. She is an ult, because all she is going to be able to provide is mitigations for either Slipper Slap or Connor diving in, because they have already got some level of protections. And that extra mitigation might just be enough to get her onto the back line, but even then, the entirety of Team Britain have their beads up and their relics, as we do see a big fight on Rosie, but there's the Aegis. And there goes the Silo, another huge Ymir Wolf from Demise to just keep her safe. And now Rosie's turning it around with some big damage from this Morgan Le Fay ult. They're going to continue on the siege into this mid tower. Ymir ult does come out. In the meanwhile, Pandazap's just ulted onto the backline as Loki, and that means that now there's no health, there's no resistance. 3-4 from Team Britain. Demise is going to die, but I don't think he cares. East with the triple kill right now. Slipper Slap's falling lower and lower as well. 4 dead. It's only him left to survive, and this could even be game. In fact, it might be if Slipper Slap is to die here. He's falling lower. He's taking the damage. Wow, he picks up that one. 4-0-4 on her, not found. Neither is the British Armada or their mid-Phoenix. That's gone. They're going to be sieging the Titan, and that's going to be the set for Team Britain. The Civil War is won. And that one. That's
That
in
was
honor of
truly
you, Queen
something.
Lizzie. May you rest in peace.
That was truly something. All that I could think of when that team fight broke out, Emir got both slowed and taunted. And you can see his Maggie's pop and Wingblade pop, and he's just moving down lane with 600 speed, shining gold. He went full Super Saiyan into that.
He indeed did. We saw a Kamehameha from the Ymir, but instead of fire, it was a freeze. Demise absolutely taking my MVP for that second game, regardless of how much damage others
Panda's
were
Zap
doing
doing
around him.
amazing. Rosie doing amazing. Wowie
Yeah,
doing amazing. East doing amazing.
and none
But
of them would have been
Demise,
able to do as amazing as
with those
Demise.
walls, those freezes,
He
that
allowed
build,
them to be amazing.
amazing,
Demise had
incredible.
an incredible game. Game 1 definitely goes to Wowie. He put that team on his shoulders. I don't even think he needed to, but he decided he wanted to anyway. Fancied doing a backpack. Game 2, he opened it up. He spread out the picnic. Demise decided he was hungry. He picked up all the food. He picked up his team and he put them on his shoulders for Game 2. And we saw 2 incredible performances there and proof that he can indeed carry from support.
Indeed, indeed. And I guess that's the first game of UD this new season. Any opinions?
Look, Team Britain came out with a very strong performance there. I don't necessarily think, though, this early we can make judgments, right? That's team's first games together. Now, granted, Lanky, Connor, and Wolfie have played together before. Yes. Have they played with Slipper and Vaticinate? Not necessarily. There's still going to be a few teething problems here within British Armada. Team Britain are also going to have those issues, but they've just come out better on the day. That doesn't mean that either of these teams won't be relevant in the future. And I think from today, look at the little things, look at the small mistakes that may have been made, and then just come back stronger next week. And I'm sure both of these teams will do that, and neither of them is going to be out of this division at all just yet. Both of them have
definitely.
some strong rosters. Both of them definitely able to take some wins still.
This was a very strong showing. I'm happy to have been here, part of this kickoff, so to speak.
As have I. We have now started both lower division and the upper division within the Galerius Smite League Season 2 here, folks. After what was a very entertaining first season, Season 2 promising to be even more entertaining with drafts and player knowledge increase and people just drafting closer teams. I'm looking forward to some incredibly solid competition as the season spreads on. But for now, I've been Ginger Archer. Alongside me tonight has been Gordon, and on production has been Printers. We wish you all a very good evening, and we will catch you for the next one.
Take care.